Hello.
Hello, Vinny.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I was just connecting here again.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Very good. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. Glad to be back again.
Vinny, I think we're live on Facebook now.
Yep.
So people are starting to join us.
Do I go on Facebook to watch it, or can I go through here? Because I can't see the comments.
You probably, if you have a second device that you can try and see the comments, it's recommended. So, are you on your iPhone or iPad?
I'm on my iPhone, but I can get the iPad.
Yeah, because
People
otherwise,
are gonna comment.
I can probably try and coordinate the comments if you like. Otherwise, probably a good idea to get a
Yeah,
second.
and that'll be. Could also look at it.
Yeah. So
Can people excuse me for like 22 seconds? I'm just gonna
absolutely.
get the iPad.
While you do that, I'll set up the share screen here.
Tá no Facebook dele. Facebook dele. Cadê? Sim.
All right, everyone. If you are watching us, can you just send a quick comment on Facebook, please? We just wanted you to say hello, say if you can hear us okay, if you can see us okay. We're just getting the screen shared here with you.
Unmute.
Vinny, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Cool. All right, so let's see. We've got Gabby, André, bem-vindo, everyone. We are live on Facebook, and tonight I'm here once again with my friend Vinny, and we will be talking about the new FIFA futsal laws of the game that have recently come out. Just wanted to make sure that everybody can see us and can hear us. So if you can send us a quick comment there, and or a hi or something. Thank you. And of course, let's share this with as many people as possible, because if I'm not wrong, Vinny, it's the first one that we're seeing in English in Australia. Just
Yes,
as in a live to talk and discuss. We just want to make sure that people understand that we're not going to go through every single rule, every single law of the game, because it's quite an extensive topic. So we're going to concentrate in the changes, in the new ones, and so we're going to go through that using these slides that are prepared for you guys, and they're all coming from the FIFA website information, and we're going to comment on that and give you guys a more practical vision of how that's going to impact on what you guys do. All right, Vinny.
Yep.
Would you like to say something before we start?
Yes. We're just gonna try to be as brief as possible, and just trying to update some people that are involved in the game that had no clue, that FIFA made some amendments to the laws of the game. Some will impact the game not directly and much, but you have an influence on how we structure the teams. Others not so much. It's just some, like some people said, cosmetic changes just to say and make the game look better or more interesting, more intense.
Very good. So I guess we can start now, Vinny. All right. So we'll be going to talk about the FIFA futsal laws of the game 2020-2021. These amendments will come into force from the 1st of June. So they have already started for those who started their competitions back. So I'm going to go into the next one there, Vinny. Can you see the topics? Cool.
Yes, I can.
So I guess it's just more of an acknowledgement of women's futsal around the globe. So women's futsal is no longer a separate category. It now has the same status as men's futsal. So it's just what they always deserved, isn't it?
Yeah, they should be placed in the same level as men. We're all equal and should be treated equally. And now it's more than the time for FIFA to acknowledge that and make that come into force. So congratulations, but we should not talk congratulations. That should not be a right. It should be mandatory.
Yeah. So age limits for youth veterans have been removed, giving flexibility for federations to decide the age restrictions for these categories. So just being a bit more flexible, I suppose, for those federations.
That means, for example, for the youth age group in Australia, it varies here. Sometimes they say 15 to 18, sometimes they say 16 to 19. It's just hard to tell which one is correct. And now I guess it gives flexibility for clubs and federations to decide. Okay, we've got more under 15s and 17s. That's going to be our youth category. If we got 16s to 19s, that's going to be our youth category. I think that's the whole point. Is that right?
Yeah. Each federation will determine which competitions are designated as grassroots futsal. How do you see that one, Vinny?
Well, which
What's
competitions?
grassroots futsal for us at the moment, do you think?
Grassroots. I think that's a terminology that football uses for kids that are not maybe into competitive football. That's what they say. But to be honest, I'm not quite sure what they meant with that, designated as grassroots futsal. So,
Yeah.
so the word said grassroots. Like grass means, football. I think they took this terminology from football and tried to implement it to futsal. To be honest, I'm not sure. Like I would love to hear other people comment on that one because I'm a bit clueless.
Yeah.
Designated. Maybe under threes to under fives, under fives to under nines. To be honest, I have no idea.
So everyone, if you wanted to send us any questions, any comments, you're always welcome. So just use that comment box below. Let's move on, Vinny, to the next one, which basically is giving more power to the associations and the federations to change very, very important rules to make the game more enjoyable and better. So the new laws provide numerous flexible organization options for futsal competitions involving youth players, older players, players with disability, and grassroots. So example of the things that they can change is the ball, the pitch, the goals, duration of game, goal clearance, etc. So what are your views on this one, Vinny?
Well, because futsal in Australia is so divided, I think clubs and federations or people that organize futsal competitions in Australia, like already put those laws into place. I can speak for myself, and you can also relate to that. We organize the Northern State League, and we don't change the ball, but we use size 3 and size 4, or sometimes size 4 and size 5 to different age groups. The pitch, the futsal courts vary from stadium to stadium. Some stadiums have 36 by 20, others have 32 by 18. So that varies, depending on the stadium where I host the tournament at. the goals, the futsal goals, I haven't seen that one. Like in Australia, they always 2 by 3, 2 meters um, uh, wide, 3 meters, wide by 2 height. So I haven't come across a futsal court that has smaller goals. If you do have smaller goals, that's not futsal. Duration of game, as I said before, Northern State League, we do that because we need to accommodate so many games because it's a traveling tournament. So teams got to travel to a venue there, and we got to give them as many games as we can on the day. So we reduce the number, the length of the game to
Yep.
sometimes 2 to 13 minute halves, 2 to 15 minute halves, to 17 minute halves. So we are already putting these new laws into place, or we have been doing it for the past 3, 4 years. I think it's just now a formality that FIFA now is making that official that you can do that. But people in Australia already do that. Goal clearance, we're going to talk about that later because that's a little bit more complex, that rule. But
Yeah.
the other four above, I think we have been doing it for the past 5, 6 years, and it's just a matter now that is has been made public by FIFA.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the size of the ball is quite an important thing, and I don't know if he's watching right now. Our friend Rafael um, made a good point back in January in a big competition that was held in Gold Coast. Because quite often sometimes a ball is too big for a player that is too young, so he's not quite ready yet to be kicking that size of ball. So that's something.
Strong enough as well.
Sorry.
It's not the player might not be strong enough, or slows down the game because the ball is heavier. So the quality of that pass and the pace, you know, behind that
Yeah.
pass
It,
might
it
make the ball
impacts in
move
a
slower.
negative
So as I
way,
said,
doesn't it?
it can definitely.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I always thought, Vinny, do you think like younger players, and anyone watching can also comment on this, do you think younger players, say, I don't know, for example, on the sevens, they would benefit of playing in a futsal court that has slightly smaller goals, as in height? Sometimes you have that kid that's just super good in his shots, and the goalkeeper is just a little guy there. He jumps so much and still can't reach the ball, and that kid just keeps kicking it super high and scoring goal after goal. Do you think that's detrimental for the game, the size of the goal, and and at those young ages, the players could benefit from playing with smaller goals?
It will definitely make the game more interesting, maybe harder to score, but it has in my opinion, pros and cons. So if you have, and you don't see that many, like that many out there, but you have maybe one kid that has a powerful shot, and then if you reduce the goal just because of that kid, has that powerful shot and it's a great asset, you need to maybe, like my opinion, you can tackle that issue in 2 different ways. So if you reduce the number, the size of the goal, sorry, then it suits the other teams and they use it. So I think you don't see that many. If all players could shoot like that one and then they were scoring goals easily, then clearly and surely we should interfere and try and make it harder for that player to score and more enjoyable for the keeper, because nobody wants to go in goals and cop, balls like over their heads. But if it's only one kid out of 10 teams, you've got 2 or 3 that can actually hit the ball that hard from a far distance. It's just credit to that player and to the coach. Maybe the coach is not going to say, okay, just mark him a bit closer, take him out of the game, don't allow him to shoot, or you can ask the coach from the other team to say, okay, don't use that um, uh, you know technique or that quality like of yours too
Yep.
often. So it's hard. I don't think the goal should change because you don't have that many players, that can shoot that hard. Because I've seen it here in my region, they hardly can hit the ball hard and that far. And if they're close enough, credit to them to use a good technique to lean, back and then hit the ball with the keeper. So they work on that technique that they might need to use when they're older. If you
Yep.
stop them from developing that skill, when they also come across when they're like 12 and the keeper comes out, he's not going to know how to kick it over the keeper because he was stopped from doing that when he was young. It's just, as I said, pros and cons. Yes, it helps in a way, but like in another way, you just take the brilliance of a player away, and you don't allow him or you don't let him use his best assets. It's just not.
Yeah, very good point, Vinny. So just moving on, as Vinny said, we're going to talk about goal clearance later on, which is it'll take a little bit more time, but let's move on into the next one. Everybody watching us, joining us now, hello. I'm Coach Hannon Fenrick here. I'm with my friend Vinny Leitchi. So we're talking about the main changes of the futsal rules that have come out last month. Talking about goal clearance, that's our next subject here. So that's a very important one. So that goes back as well, Vinny. It's probably, we can say it's strongly encouraged for everyone to do it, and it would benefit the game, and we probably will develop on that. So where it is outlawed by domestic rules, now for youth, veterans, disability, and grassroots futsal, the goalkeeper is not allowed or encouraged to throw the ball over the halfway line from a goal clearance. So that is what FIFA has said. This will be penalized with an indirect free kick to the opposing team to be taken where the ball crossed the halfway line. So the idea behind this, the philosophy behind this is to promote creative futsal and encourage technical development. So what are your thoughts on this, Vinny?
To be honest, FIFA had to like intervene and make that public, that rule, because I think it should be common sense. Okay, but it happens in Australia a lot, especially in my local leagues or sometimes when I'm playing against teams. Uh, First, the coaches don't have the knowledge. Second, the players haven't had much experience with futsal. So when my team is pressing them high, uh, all 3 or 4 players run up, into my D, and then the keeper just throws a long ball. Okay, they come from a football background, for example, and that's what they're taught to do. So they hassle for that ball drops on the ground, and then they shoot and score. Sometimes they win it because they're taller, but they're not developing, as it says, as you also highlighted that the philosophy behind this limitation or this rule or this law is to promote creative futsal. So teams start building up from the back and moving through the zones to try and score a goal. That would be a more sensible thing to do for coaches and players. Some coaches only care about results, and if that throwing the ball long gives and brings results, that will inflate his ego, and that's what he wants to do. But in the long run, he's not developing any player and then just teaching him bad habits. So I think this rule is actually good and will change, as I said before, the way some, not most, some teams play futsal. So because now they'll be forced to play in their own half or build up play in their own half as opposed to just, as I said, throw that ball and then hope for a miracle. The ball drops in front of the player and then he shoots. That's a goal. And they sit back and start playing on the counter attack. So that will change the dynamic of the game a little bit. And to be honest, I like it because I played that rule before. So when I was younger, the ball had to hit the defensive half first before going over. So the goalkeepers develop a different technique of throwing that ball. But then that was erased ages ago, and now they bring it back. So I'm familiar with that. Most players in Australia they're not. I think it will take 1 or 2 years for them to adapt, but I think it's going to be beneficial for them.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a lot to do. Sometimes it's the kids, the younger they are, probably the more they do this, they're too scared to play from the back and make a mistake in front of the goal, and the goalkeeper is just going to go and throw that ball straight into the attacking half. And I think it's good to clarify as well, Vinny, that's a goal clearance, not an in-play throw, correct? Yeah, so if the ball is in
that's it.
play,
So if the
the
ball goes
goalkeeper
out,
is free to throw it wherever he wants at any time. But if it's a goal clearance, the ball went out, and then he's restarting the game, then that's what they're suggesting there to use this halfway line limit. Is that correct?
yeah. So that's a very good point. If the keeper saves the ball, he can throw it long. He can kick it, you know. But if the ball goes out and it's the restart of plays from a goal clearance, then it needs to be played or hit, the defensive half first. I think, as I said before, I'm not going to repeat myself, but it's going to be very valid and beneficial to a lot of teams that will increase the number of goals scored and encourage coaches to actually develop. So send them up there and other things to say. We're going to have to be creative now to how we develop players.
Yeah. And what age group do you think this can apply to? Up until what age, Vinny, do you reckon?
This one, I'll say from 12s and up, maybe leave the under eights like seven, eight, nines, and tens, because sometimes the keepers are not strong enough to throw that ball long. They will try it. The ball is just going to drop maybe 2 meters, over the halfway line. That's acceptable in my opinion. But if you go up to 12, 11, 12, the goalkeepers get stronger upper body. They can throw the ball further. And then that's when you start stopping. That's my opinion. People can disagree. People can agree.
Yeah.
But I would leave to eights to tens to encourage them to also throw long a few balls. But people need to understand it has to come from the coach. Yeah. So if the coach has no clue of what he's doing, he hasn't trained the kids, okay, or trained that situation. Go long, because he's not capable of teaching the kids. So he just, giving the ball away and then playing the other team's mistake. That's not the coach, and we have a lot of them here in Australia. But if you're good enough, you studied, and you want to, help develop the game and the players, you should start implementing these situations, or bringing up the situations in the training session, so the players get familiar with having the ball and having to be creative and build up play, as opposed to let's play on the opposition mistake.
Absolutely.
So I would say from eight, nines, and tens, or 7, 8, 9, 10, stronger, physically, then you start introducing this rule. That's my opinion.
Absolutely. So it comes.
What do you think?
I agree with you. I think it comes down to the coach, the style of coaching, and the knowledge of the coach. As well, as I said, quite often we play games and we just hear on the other sideline, just go long, and then that's
Go long.
The game gets boring, and then you don't really encourage that creative player, the smarter player, the technical development as they're suggesting.
Boring and ugly.
From the first training session back, I'll be sure to be telling all my players, and I think you'll do the same, that this is happening. So they can put it through their heads that they're gonna have to start playing from the back. They're gonna have to start dealing with the problems. They will obviously start with a numerical equality, so there won't be a numerical advantage to start with. So it's 5v5, and I think it's also a good point that we need to make as well. That last topic there, the player may now receive the ball from the goalkeeper inside the D if he wants.
So
that
before was
from the outside. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, sorry, like I can interrupt you.
Yeah,
the player now can receive the ball inside the D. Before he could only if the ball's in play.
Yeah. Now from goal clearance is allowed to, and that could potentially, Vinny, create some possibilities of set plays for teams to to get away from full press.
Yeah.
So
but
yeah.
also to decompact the lines a little bit. So if you have a very high first line marking you, and you can place now a defender inside the D, you know that player at the top, he has two options now. He can press higher, okay, that will decompact the defense. The flankers can run through the middle. The goalkeeper can ping that ball in the middle there, so that could become a different set play. Or if you stand inside your D and the first line doesn't want to press you, they to hold back at the 10-meter mark, then it generates more time and more space for that Iksu to build a play. So, and that's what the sport is all about: time and space. I heard that from one friend of mine, Sam, the coach, Miras, and he said that the game is all about time and space. And if the team can use that to that advantage, to their advantage, so be it. So use it. But if the first line wants to press a bit more, that will create a massive pocket in the middle. And if the flanker, the target and the fixu of the opposing team step up as well, then one of the flankers can go long, or you can drop a ball to the left flanker, then the right flanker can make a forward run. So that will, as I said before, that rule will impact the game, and coaches will have to be more creative to develop now strategies to use that to their advantage, not against them.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Welcome to those joining us now. We are talking about the new rules of the game that have come out since last month. The FIFA rules, the amendments, they're effective as of 1st of June. Here with Vinny Leici. Vinny, thanks for doing this.
Well,
moving on.
People need to be educated on the new rules.
So we're going to talk about kickoffs now. There's more change there. Well, a couple, but football has implemented the pass back from kickoff, and now futsal is definitely allowing it to happen. According to FIFA, I know a lot of competitions, the private sector of futsal. Some companies have already been doing it. Some associations around the globe have already introduced that. But it's now official. A player can pass the ball in any direction. Also, a goal can be scored directly from a kickoff, so straight shot. And if it goes in, it's a goal. However, if it goes for some reason back inside their own goal, it's not a goal. Did you know that, Vinny?
If it hits the post, in the other goal, and then it goes back into your goal, it's not a goal.
If it goes directly into your own goal, I don't know how that would happen, but maybe it would be a corner kick to the opposing team.
I think that's what FIFA was referring to. I mean, if the player takes a shot, which is almost impossible to happen in my opinion. Take a shot, hits the crossbar, flies over your goalkeeper's head and then go into your goal. That's not a goal because it didn't touch any opposition.
Yeah.
Or didn't touch, the opposition, I said the keeper, or took a deflection on anybody. I don't see that happening in a million years. But
yeah. Also, one thing that they mentioned there, the player kicking off may stay in the attacking half of the circle. That's my interpretation of it. Like in football, in futsal, it used to happen quite a lot in competitions. That player has that one toe, one foot ahead of the line, and the ref just no, go back. So the ball goes forward, and they all in their own half. So now only the player that's actually kicking off is allowed to be on just slightly ahead of the line there. So just in line with football, I suppose. Is that your view too?
Yeah, I think that this will avoid a lot of little corrections we have to make during the game. So some players never played futsal before, but they're very familiar with football. And then why that difference? Futsal you can do this, and soccer and football you can't do that. I think that just brings in line, the kickoff of football and the same as futsal, so there's no confusion anymore, and we don't have to go all the time to the kid, as you said. Bring a foot back, please, because you're in the attacking half too. Okay, that doesn't interfere in the game at all. Having your foot 10 centimeters over the line into the attacking half, it doesn't change anything. So now this makes more clear for everybody. So they come from football, and then when they do futsal, it's the same sort of way how they are kicking off. I think it's a good rule that they introduced that, or changed to that, because then it stops the confusion.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's another positive change that we have there. Let's move on into the next one, and it's about the kick in. So should come for everyone to see the next slide in the next second. The kick in, the ball being placed up to 25 centimeters behind the line is no longer permitted, according to my reading of the FIFA document. We used to say, put it on or behind the line to take your kick in. So that little bit of a, how they call it, like a leeway or something, to have those, 20, 25 centimeters just in case there. Obviously, all the other rules are the same, Vinny. Ball has to be stationary, and within 4 seconds, foot can step on the line but not inside the court, and etc. So, what do you think of this? Is that going to make any impacts in the game?
As I said before, when we started this live broadcast, I think some changes, and I'll copy that from Rob Varela. He posted a comment saying these are cosmetic changes, and I think it's just to make the game look better or a little bit more organized, or sometimes just to change the look of the game, the appearance. So having the ball now on the line, before was up to 25 centimeters, yeah. But sometimes, depending, most games you only had one ref, and to judge, if the ball was 25 centimeters, 24 centimeters, 27 centimeters behind the line, the coaches were like, "Hey, ref, too far away," and they go, "I can't see it." Or the ref doesn't have a ruler in his pocket and go, "Stop the game. Let me measure that. Yeah, that's 27 centimeters, man. You can't take it." No. So it goes back to the initial rule, or on the line, or in line with the line. One of uh, the the ball has to be on the line or just a little bit behind it, but the edge of the ball has to be in line with the line of the court. I think that's better, because sometimes it's too far away and the refs were letting it go, and then the coach is complaining. But then,
Yeah.
who is there to judge if there was 23 centimeters, 25 centimeters, or 27? That's just hard. If you see the ball, it's in line with the sideline, take it, done. As I said, cosmetic changes will stop a lot of coaches. Hey, ref, the ball's too far back.
Yeah, I agree. Pretty small change. In terms of players, when I read that, I straight away I thought of our reality here. Hardly ever we will have 5 subs, or we may, but we hardly ever going to swap everyone. So some big professional competitions, I suppose, they can have they used to have more than 5 warming up at the same time, and a bit of a confusion there, and the referee running past, the coach talking, the players. So it was definitely not inviting for those watching. It was very, very polluted. So I think it's for where it's applicable, it could be a good thing to have a maximum of 5 subs warming up at the same time. So pretty small to no difference for us. What do you think?
So used to be 4, yeah.
Yeah.
So usually at a high level game or tournament, the coaches will have four players warming up, and then after 5 minutes into the game, he would take those 4 players off and add 4 on. So they work in quartetos, as we call it. So group of 4 players coming on and off to keep the intensity of the game high and the players fresh throughout the whole game. Uh, Having 5, I guess, maybe another cosmetic changes. So sometimes you have 4 players warming up, and you plan on, or you intend on playing those 4 next, but then you concede the goal or you score a goal, and you need now, instead of a target, you need to add maybe 2 fixes. So you could then keep an extra player warming up. So you go, okay, if things change during the course of the game, I have now a plan B. So I don't have that target anymore, and I'll have another fixture. So you can have 4 players now, 1 from each position, and you can repeat another position. Or you can keep 5 players, 4 court players, and a keeper if you intend to, at the end of the game, change the keeper for like a 5th man, so you can have the 5 players now. That's how I see it, the reason why they changed it. But as you said, in Australia, it will never happen. And even if you have 5 players, they're not going to be standing up and warming up. They're going to be sitting down.
Yeah.
Be ready to play a game. If we had an F League here, like we had before, in the past, then that rule could come into place and be used. But from what I've seen, the competitions we have here, this rules it's not gonna affect us at all.
Yeah, same. Um, the duration of the match. So this is something that we can definitely talk about. The timekeeper signals the end of each half with an acoustic signal, even if the referees do not signal signal the end by blowing their whistle. So I'll repeat that. The timekeeper signals the end of each half with an acoustic signal, even if the referees do not signal the end by blowing their whistle. So if there is a timekeeper, I know a lot of competitions won't have one, but we have teams participating in some competitions that they have like 9 courts at the same time or something like that, and then the guy, I don't know if he's still watching there, Armando comes with the little horn and makes that massive noise, and then some courts, some kids stop playing in the middle of the game, and then the other, and it's not yet the final whistle, and it can be confusing for the kids, can it?
Yes, you can. Yeah, if one court signals the end of the game and the other one has 10 seconds to go, that will be very confusing. But that's more like for maybe the top level futsal, where there is always a delay from the timekeeper uh, signaling the end of the game, and then the ref has to take the whistle and put it in his mouth. That probably takes half a second, maybe sometimes a second. That can interfere in the game. There's a classic example that just happened. Sorry, but I'm not going to remember that. I think it was Venezuela versus Peru in the South American competition. People can correct me if I'm wrong, but there was 5 seconds to go, and then the timekeeper, I think the game was 3-0. So the timekeeper signaled the end of the game. And then by the time the ref took the whistle to his mouth, the team scored. So everybody was like, oh, that wasn't a goal. That was a goal. So people were like unsure of what happened and who finishes the game. So I think now FIFA made that very clear. The timekeeper finishes the game even if the referee doesn't blow the whistle. So the ref can blow the whistle if the ball is out of play or also out of play. If the ball is with the keeper and he's about to throw that, the ref finishes the game after the timekeeper signals the end of the game. But that will stop, that half a second or a second delay and avoid this massive issue that has been, that there has been in futsal over the years. Who finishes the game? Is it the timekeeper? Is it the referee? I think now it's very clear that the timekeeper is in charge of the end of the half and the game.
And we all know that 1 or 2 seconds can make a huge difference in the futsal game.
Yeah, I think if we're playing like 1 or 2 futsal courts, then you have so the siren or the bell going off, or if you're using just one court, you can use that. So at the end of the 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 13-minute halves you're playing, you can finish the game by so the sound of the horn. Done, great. But if you want to implement that, you can. But now you can live up to the referee as well as before.
Very good. Just wanted to take a moment to thank everyone for staying with us. I think this is so far, as I'm concerned, it's been very, very positive, and it's been a very good conversation, Vinny, and very informative for those watching. For those joining now, my name is Anna Fenrick, and I'm here with Vinny. You probably know us from somewhere. And so please feel free to leave any comments. The rules have been updated by FIFA, the futsal rules, and we will be bringing it to our reality here in the Northern New South Wales region, and I'm sure everybody else will be doing it in Australia. This is a unique opportunity that we're having here to discuss these changes live. I may have missed, but I don't recall seeing anyone doing a live session on these changes in English in Australia. So I think we're once again, Vinny, doing a good thing for the country that we love here.
People just have to watch it now.
Yep. Share away, guys. Send comments, send questions. We're here for you. All right. So moving on.
I just want to say about we're talking about so the goalkeeper role. Benny Marsh. I know Ash is a talented keeper. Uh, one of the best in Australia in his age group, and he's not going to be happy with the throw because he has an amazing, you know, uh, hand distribution. Like he can place a ball at the, you know, targets or flanker's feet or head or chest with like perfect precision, and that rule is going to interfere with
Yeah.
his style of play. So he's just going to have to adapt now.
He will adapt. I'm sure he will. Deny a goal or an obvious goal scoring opportunity. So where a player denies the opposing team a goal or an obvious goal scoring opportunity by a handball offense, the player is sent off, and FIFA made sure to put that word there, wherever the offense occurs. So that's a small change there. We can probably start seeing a lot more red cards. What do you think, Vinny?
Yeah, it just I think it's clear the player, uh, uses his hand to deny goal scoring opportunity. Uh, he should be sent off, but it just says whatever the offense occurs. So if he, I think they're talking maybe about fifth man, for example, where the keeper is out of the goal, and then the team in attack or in possession loses the ball, and then the defending team kicks it, and then the player, you know, uses his hand to stop that. Wherever it happens, if it's in near so the halfway line in the attacking half, he uses his hands to stop the ball from going towards the goal. That's a red card. Because usually they would say, "Oh, there was a player behind the ball line, or the ball wasn't going towards the goal." Who is there to judge? The referees, to the
Yeah.
angle. So I think they're talking about that. Maybe when they're using this man or the keeper went to adventure himself in attack, and the player uses his hand. Because usually people tend to think, oh, just inside the D, it's a handball, player should be sent off. But I think once again, as I said, fifth man, you lose the ball, they kick it over your head, and then you try and reach for the ball with your hand. Red card straight away. You can be near your bench on the halfway line or in the attacking half. It's a red card.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's worth noting that if a player denies an obvious goal scoring opportunity but attempts to play the ball, a smaller punishment besides red card may be given to him. So, um, looking at this now, Vinny, I think once again it'll come to the referee's discretion, like his opinion of the play, and how he interprets if that player is genuinely trying to play for the ball, and then could be a yellow card rather than a red card. What are your thoughts?
Oh, it says again, so it's worth noting that if a player denies an obvious goal scoring opportunity but attempts to play the ball. So another incident could be the goalkeeper lost the ball again. Let's use the fifth man example. Keeper loses the ball. He gets taken on by an attacker. And then the guy shoots. The other one tries to slide, and as you slide, is a natural position to throw one arm up because the other one is going down. And then the ball hits your leg, hits your arm. That's you attempted to play the ball, but it hit your hand and could have gone towards the goal, but you didn't try. Your first instinct wasn't to use your hand to stop the ball. You went to tackle, and it's a natural position of your body to go this way, hit your leg, hits your hand, or they hit a player's chest and hit your hand. You didn't attempt to use your hand. You actually just stand there. So it's a natural body position. But once again, it will be up to the referee's opinion, and judgment.
Yeah, yeah,
And people will still complain. So whatever decision the ref makes, it will suit the attacking team and not the defending team, or vice versa. So I think this rule doesn't change much because it's always up to the referee's
yeah.
judgment.
And yeah, it also goes back as well. I think it goes back to common sense a little bit as well, especially when refing like young kids. Like you can absolutely destroy a game if you know, if you give a red card where, you know, a yellow card would have been more appropriate, because you just, you know, too strict and you do by the book, and you're reffing, you know, 7-year-olds like you do with grown-ups. So there should be a little bit of common sense there too, in especially in those gray areas that require referees' interpretation. I don't know if we have any futsal referees watching us now. Please do say hi in the comments. So, all right. So I think we can move on into the next one. It should come up for everyone watching the next second or two. The penalty kicks. So, well, the penalty shootouts, like some people know and are familiar with. It used to be 5, and they changed it to 3, and now it's back from 3 to 5 kicks to when you need it to determine the outcome of a match. So, do you prefer 3, 5?
5.
Me too. I think I probably, if we could, I think it would be very, very interesting. It would be fun to have every player in the squad taking a penalty.
Yeah.
But
It takes up too much time. But I
yeah,
think five for futsal it's good because if the game, you know, went to penalties, that now is the most exciting part. So you want it to last, you know, a good length, you know, a good time. Sorry. So you don't want it to finish quickly, like Andre Carter said. You know, 3 it's not enough because the game has been excited, you know, for the past 40 minutes, and then 10 minutes extra time if we're talking about high level. Then goes to penalty shootout. FIFA killed it because it was finishing too quickly. But now going back to 5, it was 5, then they brought back to 3, and then probably people complained. Back to 5 again. I think it was a sensible, you know, decision to make because people want that excitement at the end. So 5, I think, is perfect. 7, you know, would be too many. 5 is enough. We just had a great example: Solomon Islands versus in New Zealand. Went to penalty shootouts. One of the best games I've been, you know, able to be part of my life as a coach, as a player. So exciting, and then went to penalty shootouts, and then 3. So, you know, in less than 2 minutes, the game was over. After 50 minutes, you know, I mean, why not? Maybe, you know, could have had 5 penalties. New Zealand could have turned it around, or we could have maybe scored 4-2. We don't know, but at least it would have lasted a little bit longer. It would have kept people at the stadium for, you know, an extra minute, but it would definitely have made the game more exciting at the end.
And also, I think it's worth mentioning as well that if a team has more players, that's my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. If a team has more players than the other team, they must equal the number of players before the shootouts start. Is that correct?
We already do that here in Australia. So, like, I don't know if the futsal referees here that mainly come from football were already using that from football, but I've had so many tournaments here where the refs, and I knew that. So if my team has 9 players and yours have 7, I need to remove 2 of my players. So I say, okay, little Johnny and little Patrick, you're not, you know, taking the penalties. You can stay with the players here, but you're not on the penalty takers list, for example. And then you make it 7-7, because if it goes beyond 7, if you keep scoring, nobody misses a penalty, you can't use those 2. You go back to using the same 7.
Exactly.
So you level, you know, the number of players up, and then if penalties, you know, kick persists, then you use that group of player as opposed to having 9, 7. I think that's a good thing to do. You know, you equal the numbers, but if you're talking high level, that's not going to interfere because both teams have 14. You must have 14 players.
Yeah,
it's not gonna affect unless somebody leaves the court of play or the field of play injured, you know, carried out on an ambulance. All of a sudden, you have 13 players. So then at the end, you need to remove 1. I only see that option happening in a high level. But juniors, yeah, some teams have 9, some teams have 10, some teams have 5 players against 10. So you just gotta pick your best 5 against the other 5.
Yeah. Also, the goalkeeper must now only have 1 foot over the line. So that's a small but very positive change for all our lobbed goalkeepers. They are already in a massive trouble there when they're having a penalty being shot against them from 6 meters with a heavy ball, and with all their courage and everything. So now they've got a little extra advantage, if we can put it that way. So only 1 foot must be on the line.
They can cut off the angles now a bit more stepping out. So I think that's a good rule because it goes in line with football as well. So if you have kids coming from football playing futsal and he's the goalkeeper and there's a penalty, like a situation happening in the game, he'll bring his habits from football to futsal, and we're not gonna have to stop and retake it 2 or 3 times and issue a yellow card. I think it's good. It's a positive change, and will make it harder for the taker, the keeper to score a goal, and the likelihood is easier for the goalkeeper to be able to save it because you'll be maybe a meter closer. If he's that flexible, he can keep a foot on the line and step forward. He might lose his balance a little bit more so the taker can place it, but it will surely make it more interesting for the keeper and the taker, and especially for the spectators.
Yeah, I think it's positive and it's beneficial for the goalkeepers too. And as you said, they can probably narrow the angle a little bit better now. Sometimes, depending on who is taking the shot, there's still going to be nothing that you can do, but it is a small positive change. All right, so I just wanted to, obviously, everything that we spoke about. So this is a link for those who wanted more information. It's off the FIFA website. Feel free to take a screenshot there and visit those rules. So there's a more comprehensive document there on the website. It's you don't want to download the full 200-page document. You just this circular number 1719, so it's 7 or 8 page from FIFA, and it should give you exactly what we spoke about in a more practical way here for you to implement and start using with your players, regardless if you're a director in an association, if you're a coach, if you're a referee, if you're a competition manager. I think this could be beneficial for you. So please go there and visit. And if there's anything that you find that is important that we missed, please do send us a message, and we can talk about it and then discuss about it. But I think we've pretty much covered everything. Vinny, would you like to add anything?
No, if anybody that's still watching us, want to ask any questions, feel free now. Now is the time. I hope they were able. We gave them an insight and made it a little bit more clear for them. Some people didn't know that FIFA had changed the law of the game. So they're like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Some people didn't even know that those laws existed before, and now they have been changed. I think it's good if people watch it, not now, not live, but later, watch the video on YouTube. I'm sure you're going to post that later, upload that later, so they can get familiar with that. As you said, it's the first time, I think, in Australia that people are doing in English. Other people have done it in Portuguese, which was very valid with some great names of the sport. But then to introduce these new changes to the community coaches or the parents or the kids in English, I think is a good contribution. So thank you, Hanan, for having this idea and putting this together and inviting me. I appreciate it, and I hope the watchers and the viewers understood me, because I've got a new device here, so I don't know if the quality of the sound was good, but hopefully they were able to listen to me very clearly.
Yeah, no, it's working fine, Vinny. So yeah, I think as you mentioned, a lot of people did not know that the rules were changing, or this was happening. So I did a little story on my Instagram, just asking people if they knew the rules had changed, and the vast majority replied no, they had no idea. So I think this, if not now live, this will continue to reach more people as we share this information on our social media platforms. So yeah, the idea obviously was yours initially, and then I did a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation here, and we
do everything, man.
we got together, and it's good that we always we're always thinking of ways to make try and do our best to make things better here for the sport, and for the parents, and for the kids, and for everyone involved. So we'll continue with our mission here in Australia while they let us, while we're healthy.
Yep.
Yeah. So if anyone wanted to talk to you, Vinny, and they're yet not part of your friends list, what would be the best way to contact you?
Well, they can give us a like on Facebook, just Futsal New South Wales, or they can go on my um, private Facebook page, which is Vinicius Leite, and they can send me a message if they want to, talk about this in private, or they want to clear any doubts they have about the game. We can. So we're here to share our knowledge and learn from others as well. We don't know all there is in futsal, and we are happy to learn as well from others.
Excellent.
Instagram as well. Instagram just futsal, so it's the same as Facebook page. Follow us, and you can see a little bit about our journey and what we do here in Australia with futsal.
Excellent. So anyone wanting to connect with us too, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. So North Coast Futsal, and also my personal ones, which is Hannah with the R, Renan Fenric Futsal. I put the word futsal just to emphasize. So Renan Fenric Futsal. So that's where you can find me on Facebook. I've got a page and a person, and then obviously on Instagram, and I've got a channel on YouTube as well that I'll be posting this interview, or not an interview. It's a chat, a little conversation about the rules. This will always stay on Facebook, and I will try and upload it on Instagram, so this information can reach as many people as possible. So please do like, follow, and subscribe, and share this information with as many people as possible. We are here to help. Once again, thank you so much, Vinny, for joining me and doing this, and thank you everyone for watching and being part of it.
It's been a pleasure.
I'll see everyone next time.
Looking forward to the next one.
Bye, Vinny. See you, everyone.
Okay, guys. See ya.